Good morning, little piggies. Looks like you guys could use some exercise. What happened? Did you stay up late last night? Let's see if I can sneak up on them. Oh, here we go. Run, 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 run. Pigs are like college students. They like to sleep in. This morning I'm loading the block and other things into my truck to take them up to the machine shop. Hopefully my alternate set of sleeves and head gasket will come in the mail today and we'll get them all up there. I need to rig this so I can hoist it with the tractor once I get it out the shop door, which is an exercise in itself that I'll get to. As you can see, I can't get the engine through the overhead door because the tractor's there. I like working in this end of the shop because of the heat and all my tools are here and the weigh-in's over here. So I got to bring the engine out through this man door on the side. I'll roll the engine stand up and pick it with the tractor through the doorway. I'm going to have to put my crappy little engine stand to the test, I guess. Take her off the engine stand. I'll feel a lot better when this is on the truck, so let's do it. While I was loading the engine block, my alternate sleeves came in the mail, so let's take a look at them. These look a lot more like what I got, and I'll grab the other one and we can compare them. This is the first sleeve I got. It's a heavy sucker. It's got an 1/8 inch wall. It's 4-inch bore by 4 1/4 inch OD with a step on the top, and I believe it was actually made for a 400 or a 450 diesel, but from looking at the top of the block, we surmised it must have been bored out for that, but it turns out it wasn't. This one is a 4-inch bore by 4 1/8 inch outer diameter, so the sleeve thickness is about a 1/16 of an inch with just this simple lip on the top. This is a lot closer to what I got in the engine. This time they sent me a t-shirt too. And those guys at Bates sure are cool. Next we'll get the head, which I can just barely carry. And the camshaft. And I'll pack the rest of the stuff in boxes, the connecting rods, and now I need to hunt through all these parts that I received and figure out what the machine shop needs. Well, after going through all the parts, I'm sending everything up to the machine shop except for the gaskets. So it's all going just to make sure. And here it all is. Stuffed in the back of my truck. This is not the first trip I've made this way, and I am going to put another rope on the back of that just to make sure. Well, that was fun. An hour there, an hour back, and some talk with the owner of the machine shop, and hopefully everything's on its way as far as the MD machine work goes. I will be nervous until it gets back. He said it's going to take about 3 weeks. They've had a whole bunch of business since COVID started because a lot more people are working on tractors in their shops now since they're home. So the next job I got to do is I got to put the teeth on this bucket because the cattle pens need to be cleaned out. This is a job I don't do very often. I had to remove the teeth last summer when I was doing earthwork on the cattle pen and the chicken house. And that was probably the first time I'd removed them in 2 years anyway. Now they're going back on, and they probably won't come off for another 2 years, if I'm lucky. Geez, this pipe's been getting a workout lately. Maybe I should at least paint it or bronze it. I don't know. My prized pipe, which gets used every winter to straighten these guys out. I have to put these forks on because if I were just trying to pull at the bedding pack in the cow's barn, the hay and manure mixed together, I couldn't get a grip on it with this. So the forks are good for pulling the manure apart when I tilt the bucket and drag it backwards, or when I lift it up like this. The straight edge just won't cut it, and I haven't been able to find a manufactured bucket that has the qualities that I want. Usually they just have an open bottom when you get a manure bucket, but I want that solid bottom to pick up the loose stuff as well. And inevitably these get bent up. My dad made these. They're not tempered or hardened or anything like that, so I just have to go through and bend them back once in a while. It's really not that big a deal. Before I clear out the pen, we got to clear the cows out of the pen. Come on. This can be a job in itself. Come on. Let's go, guys. You're gonna clean your crib. All right, we're ready to go. The problem that I always run into doing this is that the cows pack the hay down so much near where they're feeding hay, they pull some out, and it is a bear to get apart. I have to pull it out in layers, and it's compounded by the fact that I can't get this bucket to go down so the teeth are vertical to really pull at it efficiently. And the reason is, on my bucket, these hydraulic arms need to be moved back here so that the bucket will swing down more. This originally was a forklift, and they did this to increase leverage on the forklift. So I learned from a viewer, thank you. So Dad and I got to make a pair of bushings and move these down so there's more travel in the bucket. So we just keep pulling away at it. You know, all this time on the tractor makes me think of some pretty good jokes, I think. Want to hear them?
Sure.
Where do you find a cow with no legs?
Where?
Right where you left it. I told my doctor I broke my arm in 2 places, and he said, don't go to those places. All right, we got to get back to work. I've been thinking about it, and you know, the shovel was really a groundbreaking invention.
How so? Oh, I get it!
What's the last thing that goes through a bug's mind when it hits the windshield?
What?
Its butt.
Oh man.
I think the cows want to come in. Yeah? Some complaints. Been a while without hay, hasn't it? Sure is nice having a loader to clean this out. The first few years I did it by hand, forking it into the manure spreader. And it took a while, but there's still handwork to be done at the end, because you can never get all the stuff off the edges. Here we go, at least one half of it's done. If you've been with me a while, you know that last summer I put some fill in here. It was item 4, bank run gravel. And it's impossible not to take a little bit of it out when we're doing it, but it stayed pretty good and it's nice and dry in here. Tomorrow I'll get the other half. One of the nice things about the way our cattle barn is set up is I can close these gates here, and then the cattle can come in here and eat while I'm cleaning out the other side tomorrow. Let's close the gates and let them back in. Here's a way to make these latches. We call them D-clips, but they're really not stronger. They're not very strong. If something pushes against the fence, these stretch open real easily, like this one did. So an old farmer taught me this trick. You wrap your chain around, and then you get it nice and tight, and then you take one loop and put it through the other, and then you put the D-clip on here, and this is a much stronger connection than putting it the normal way. All right, guys, you ready to come back in? Who's first through the door? Sammy. Hey, Sammy. Daisy. Hux. Oh, here comes Titus. Hi, Patty. Yeah, you got to complain. Coco? Everybody's got to walk around and check everything out. What's different, guys? Something changed. You say, I feel a lot shorter. What happened? This is my day's work, and this manure pile is going to get a lot bigger before the end of the winter. This is the manure pile from last winter, and that'll go back out on the fields in April or May in the spring. This one will sit and cook until a year from this spring, so that'll be 2022. Manure's like a fine wine. Well, not exactly like a fine wine, but it does get better with age. This will cook down and be more like soil, great fertilizer for the fields. Please keep your fingers crossed for my engine block at the machine shop. I hope everything works out all right. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.